gonna have any fights this week? Oh man, we gotta have some fights.
This is CMN, a Cage Match News Special.
We've got breaking news out of the NFL where the Las Vegas Raiders have fired head coach Antonio Pierce after his first full season with the team. That's our latest from Jonathan Jones. The Raiders won just 4 games this season, their fewest since 2018. Las Vegas also missed the playoffs for their 3rd straight year. The Raiders will now be hiring their 3rd full-time head coach since the start of the 2022 season.
I appreciate the support, win, lose, or draw. You know, when you take this job and when you're in front of this room, in front of the building, in front of the organization, the face of the organization, you take the good with the bad, right? And when we win, everybody's AP. When you lose, get rid of his ass. I get it. That's the nature of the beast. It was no different when I played, right? When you play well, they keep you and they give you more money. And you don't, you go to another team. So that's a good part about being a former player. You get the nature of the business. But Raider Nation's been great. I'll say this. For the 9 road games we had, they showed up, every one of them. And they were loud, they were beating. The black hole, we always a kick to it. No different than last night. Thought they were outstanding. So Raider Nation's been great. It's been great to me. I appreciate the support. Good, bad, and ugly. I get it. And I take it, and I don't blink or flinch. It is what it is. We got to win more games, and that's what everybody expects, myself included.
All right. You heard it right there. That press conference from AP was yesterday. His usual Monday press conference. And right here, Las Vegas Raiders put out, the Las Vegas Raiders have relieved Antonio Pierce of his duties as head coach. We appreciate Antonio's leadership, first as an interim head coach and this past season as the head coach. Antonio grew up a Raiders fan and his silver and black roots run deep. We are grateful for his ability to reignite what it means to be a Raider throughout the entire organization. We wish nothing but the best for Antonio and his family in the future. I know it was one of those you kind of expect it to happen, but once it happened, it was still kind of a surprise. Asylum, how you doing? This is on a Tuesday. We're here.
We're here Tuesday. Breaking news. Thank you, James Earl Jones. We love you. you know. We always come on with this breaking news, whether it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It don't matter what day it is. We'll come on when the news is here. We'll do a show for you. And don't worry, we still have our show tomorrow for all those people who want to watch this beautiful mug right here on Wednesday. But
yes,
in my opinion, it's a sad day. It's a sad fucking day.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people,
the majority of Radio Nation is happy, but not all of us.
Yeah. And like I said, I had a feeling at the end of the season, but I was hoping that when Gerard Mayo was fired basically not even an hour after the Patriots' last game of the season, I thought that right there would have saved AP's job, because who else are you going to hire? So I thought, okay, the Raiders will stick to AP and have him go through this season, see what happens, and if not, they'll go and move on from him. But they decided to wait until Tuesday. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just said no. They just waited till today. You know, it wasn't a Black Monday. Turns out to be a Black Tuesday.
Yeah. So, we thought, okay, Monday there was no news, and we thought, all right, we'll be able to kind of prepare for next season with AP, figure out what he's going to do on offense. Hopefully, with Patrick Graham, because it was also reported today that Patrick Graham had some interviews lined up, one as the Jaguars head coach, and then another for the Bengals defensive coordinator after they recently fired their defensive coordinator. So I don't know if it ties into AP getting fired. Maybe the Raiders want to interview him.
I heard a story that they've been having closed door meetings for the last couple of weeks, everything going. I thought maybe the fact that they pushed him out there for that press conference, it might have been, I was worried, but might have been one of those things. You hear both sides of the story. I know there's people out there, podcasters, trying to say they knew what was going to happen. They have an insider saying this, they have an insider saying that, but I also hear other stories about them saying other shit. So, no one really knew. Only as Hondo said, only Mark Davis really knows. The only good thing that came out of all of this is he didn't fucking wait forever like he normally does.
Yes. Before we continue, let's just do a quick. I want to do a quick shameless plug just for our show. Here we go, Saddam. Your favorite one. Here we go. Oh, your part. Just do a quick one for our show. Here we go.
All right, everyone, go to the YouTube channel, The Cage Match Show. Like, share, subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Hit that bell. That way anytime a video, meme, whatever drops. And you can catch us on Facebook if anything happens on Oakland Raiders Savage page, Oakland Raiders Savage, or my page, Asylum.
All right. Just want to put that out there. We started off hard with a high number of viewers. So we want to make sure that if you're not subscribed to this channel, we are on every Wednesday. Yes, we're like the post office. How's it go? Rain, wind, shine, firing, whatever. We're always on. So just want to make sure.
Rain, sleet, snow.
I worked for the Purple and Black Company. Okay, ours was. We get there when we get there, right? Don't bother us. All right. Anyways, now you saw the season as it was, 4-13. You saw the 10-game losing streak from the Broncos, away at the Broncos, all the way up until the Falcons game, that Monday night game. We started a little mini 2-game winning streak and then ended against the Chargers. This team this year just had a whole bunch of injuries. And not to make excuses, but the cards were kind of stacked against AP from well, I want to say from the beginning, but there was still a little uncertainty with the quarterback position, which we all thought Aiden O'Connell should have started from the beginning. And in hindsight, a lot of folks who were saying Minshew were now like,
you have Rick Gannon going on, whatever it was, saying he made a mistake, and what would it have been if O'Connell would have started instead. So, you got, former MVP quarterback for the Raiders, turned around saying, you know what, there was a lot of mistakes made. Biggest one by, AP for part of it. Telesco's part of it. All this was probably offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Then you have the injury bug strike before even the season starts with one of your emerging star players. And then it was just, one thing after another. And, he had struggles. And again, we've said it over and over. I know you said we're not making excuses. It's not excuses, it's facts.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, you had a rookie head coach who's going to make rookie mistakes. And to hold him, it's one thing to hold him accountable, but you don't even give him a chance to fucking learn. He had to learn this shit. He has to be able to, go from there. We've all, as human beings, have made mistakes in our life. And, we don't want them held against us. We got to go. You make a mistake at work. Do you want to get fired for it? No. You want to say, hey, I learned. I go. It's when you keep making the same mistake over and over and over and over again and he didn't get the chance. And I'm going to say here, I don't know when I was going to get a chance to say it, but in my opinion, and it's going to be an unpopular opinion here throughout most Raider Nation, but this, everyone's talking about we got set back 5 years, 10 years because we lost a draft pick. No, this here sets us back a minimum of 3 years. So I hope the people who are calling for AP being fired are going to be happy with losing season. This, I want to hear what happens next year with whoever they bring in. And if we have the same situation, I don't want to hear out of their mouths, oh, just give him a chance. He needs a chance. He needs another year, because that's the same quote unquote excuse that the other part of Raider Nation has been saying about AP. So,
yeah,
those guys who want him to fire, who claiming that this is who they want, all this other shit. I hope whoever you want to come in and give us a fucking, 10-win, 13-win season and shit, because otherwise, I'm sure that head's going to be at call, and then we're all going to be called real Raiders fans, but we don't know what the fuck we're talking about, all that other bullshit, just because, it's not who they wanted. You had to give the man a chance. You didn't. So now we're set back for 3 years. So this is 2025 now?
yes.
So it ain't going to be till 2028 before the Raiders can be relevant, assuming you keep a head coach that long. The coaching carousel continues for 25 plus years. So apparently all we got to give them is a year and a half. I really don't even count the interim for these coaches. I don't count Antonio Pierce's interim part, because you know what? They're just coaching. They're just trying to fill in the job until it's done. They're not, they don't even know if they're going to have a job after that. So,
yeah, and looking at this, since Mark Davis took over, his first thing he did in 2012, because Al Davis had passed away in 2011. First thing he did 2012, McKenzie came in, hired McKenzie as GM. They fire Hugh Jackson after an 8-8 season, which that 2011 season was really the defense with Czech Bresnahan coming in his second term after the Super Bowl year. He came back again, and that defense was horrible. So we all thought, okay, well, Hugh Jackson's going to come back, the redo the defense, and we should be good, finishing 8-8. Mark Davis fired him, or allowed McKenzie to fire him, whatever. New coach comes in. That's Dennis Allen. He don't last that long. He gets fired mid-season. Tony Sperano takes over. He doesn't do that well, so they hire Jack Del Rio. Jack Del Rio gets the Raiders to the playoffs in 2016. Carr broke his leg that year, but the following year, after going 12-4, they go a 6-10. Fires Jack Del Rio after he signed a 5-year extension. I think it was like a 5-year extension. Hires John Gruden, because John Gruden wants to come back to coaching. John Gruden starts off slow. In 2021, this team is 3-0. Then the allegations came out with the emails. He has to resign. Rich Bisaccia takes over, gets the Raiders, continues Gruden's, gets to the playoffs. Instead of hiring him, Bisaccia, to take over full time, he lets him go. Here's Josh McDaniels, and you look right there. Starts off his first season at 6-11. In his second season, they fire him after a 3-5 start. Bring up Antonio Pierce, promote him from a linebackers coaching job. Only a year, really like a year and a half as an NFL coach, to be interim. Turns the team around where they're now, ready to, attitudes change. They want to play now. They basically, gave him new juice. And then, so Mark Davis said, okay, well, the players want him, the fans want him. I'm going to promote him to full-time head coach. And Antonio Pierce in his first year goes 4-13 with quarterback issues and everything, and decides to fire him today. And if you go through the timeline is right here. Antonio Pierce gets hired January 19th. The 23rd, they hire Tom Telesco, and he gets hired. They have that press conference, where they're sitting next to each other. Right after February 1st, the Raiders try to attempt to hire Cliff Kingsbury. Of course, we all remember, like 2-3 days later, he decides to fled to Washington on speculation of contract years length. He wanted 3 years. He was only given 2, because maybe that's what Antonio Pierce's contract was. So right after they hired Luke Getsy, start of the season, Raiders signed Gardner Minshew at a start of free agency. Then eventually they named him the starting quarterback, which if you go back to that press conference, that was Antonio Pierce said this was between a decision between me, Telesco, and Getsy. We all came together and decided on Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew becomes a starter at the beginning of the season. On September 30th, AP allegedly liked an Instagram post regarding Davante Adams playing his last down as a Raider when he was out with that quote-unquote hamstring injury. This is also around the same time after they lost to the Panthers and the business decision comments that AP had made in his post-game. October 15th, Davante Adams gets traded to the Jets for a third-round pick. On November 3rd, right after the Bengals game, going into the bye week, Raiders finally decided to fire Luke Getsy and promote Scott Turner to interim head coach. Also bringing, interim OC. Also bringing in his father, North Turner. Raiders break a 10-game losing streak in Week 16 versus the Jaguars. They finished 4-13, and of course today they fire Antonio Pierce. And like I said, we're not trying to.
I agree with you. Your comment here. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I agree with your comment there. All I want to say is you can say you heard it here first. Cage Match won't be saying that shit just because I already said it sets us back 3 years, and I expect the same results if the new coach comes out sucking and going. That's my expectations, but I know it's not going to happen, and I agree 100%. I'm not calling out names like he did, but there's other content creators too. I know it's all going to be, yes, give him a chance, give him a chance, give him a chance.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of folks were done. They retired. The Raiders, especially on the offensive side, we couldn't move the ball. Our running game, 32nd in the league. And compared to last year, so this is when AP took over in his interim. Points allowed on defense, 15.3, which was first. Takeaways on defense, 13, which is tied for 6. Defensive touchdowns, 4th, which was first. Sacks, 24, which is tied for 5th. And the penalties, we were first in the league for not committing penalties. That's un-Raider-like. So he was getting his team turned around. But then if you go and look at what happened this year, 4-13 record, 27th ranked offense, 32nd in rushing with a 79.8 yards a game, 13th in passing, 223.4 yards a game, 28th in scoring, 18.2 points a game. And then on the defensive side, 15th ranked defense, 15th in rushing D, 125.1 yards a game, 11th in passing D, 202.7 yards a game, 29th in points allowed, 28.5 points a game, 29th in takeaways with 10 interceptions and 3 fumble recoveries, 29th in giveaways, 16 interceptions and 13 fumbles given away, with a total of with a ratio of -16 in the turnover margin. And then of course we had the 10 players that were on injured reserve, and I thought I had 10. Well, there was the 10 main ones. Of course, you got in the bottom, and Malcolm Koonce starting off the season on injured reserve.
And look, 3 days later, Marcus Epps.
Yeah. So you had a team.
Yeah, like we said. Oh, sorry. I'll let you go. Sorry.
No, I'm going to say you had a team that from the start of the season, just, I don't know if it was bad luck or somebody put a curse or whatever it was, bad juju or whatever it was. The Raiders they were losing players after each game, and their key veteran players. So you had the defense start eventually ending with a whole bunch of rookie players and first-year players and second-year players. And of course, yeah, with first in the league and penalties, committed against the Raiders, all these new guys, these young guys, they're trying to go out there and trying to learn on the fire. Of course, the penalties, were mounting up because you had a lot of new guys in there, and this is what AP was dealing with through the season. Go ahead, Asylum.
Oh, well, no, I'm sorry. I was reading comments there, but it's that. It's you had the new guys, right? We gave the 2 rookies on the offensive line. All their rookies, they're going to make those stupid penalties, right? The holding penalties, the false start penalties, shit like that. But what did we say? Oh, they got to learn. They got to get to going, and it got better. Okay, and I've seen some of the comments. I see some of the shit there. People trying to antagonize me. That's okay. I can get started if we really want to, but I'm not going to go in this. We don't have that much time for this show. But the whole thing is they got a chance to learn. They get going. Some people didn't see improvement in AP, but I did. His time management sucked at the beginning of the year. It did. It got better, towards the end. But yet again, he still had to learn right, wrong, and indifferent. He had to, make his mistakes because you know what? We make mistakes. When we fall, we pick ourselves up and learn why we fell and don't do that shit again. We need continuity in the coaching, on coaching. 25 plus years of constantly a carousel, coach after coach after coach after coach. I mean, and don't get me wrong, it's not all Mark Davis. It was with Al Davis too, towards the end of his life. But it's coach after coach after coach. How can you get continuity? What happened? Somebody said it's not going to set us back 3 years. What's going to happen? Players are going to disappear. A new coach is going to want to bring in players that fit his scheme, his ideals. There's going to be players that people like that won't make the team. How do we know new coach coming in don't want to keep a Robert Spillane, who I think needs to be re-signed? Who's to say, what? He don't like Max Crosby because he has a podcast and he says shit. Let's go ahead and trade Max Crosby. Marcus Epps, who I think is a great leader for that secondary. Myself, Malcolm Kuntz. Okay, we'll just go off right. This here. Malcolm Kuntz, right? He was a rising star, had potential. Everyone was loving, wanted to see what was coming. But now you might not get that chance because he's a free agent. Come off the injury, he's not my kind of guy. Okay, offensive line. Well, in this case, I hope he gets rid of fucking Andre James. I'll be happy about that one. But, it's going to come down. You had Telesco drafted players that fit AP's view for football. Now it's going to have to fucking change. It's going to go. It will maybe help in some key areas, Jacoby Myers. Maybe he don't like Jacoby Myers. Maybe he wants to get rid of fucking Jacoby Myers. Shit. I mean, nobody's going to want to get rid of Brock Bowers, but let's put it out there, right? Brock Bowers is there. Well, what the fuck do we need a Michael Mayer for? Those two together, and you were starting to see they're coming together, and as a tight end tandem, you don't know what's coming. Half the team's going to disappear. Things going to go. They got to learn a new system yet a fucking again. What was this? Fourth offensive coordinator in 2 years?
Yeah.
Right? Third head coach in 2 years? So, I don't know what I'm talking about. All this, I'm emotional. No, it's about consistency. You can't have consistency if you're constantly changing everything, for the field. I agree on the part about, the front office and everything. Need some, organization there. There might be too many people in there. I've heard different things on that. Too many chiefs, not enough Indians in there. People just, I'm in charge of this, I'm in charge of that. Go. I don't disagree with a front office, organization or organizing that, getting it all right. But that's up to Mark Davis and Telesco.
Yeah, and like you.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you saw just in the last decade, you look at these on the offensive side. Bill Musgrave had the highest points per game when he was in under Jack Del Rio, and then when he was gone, it just started going downhill from there. You had John Gruden and Greg Olson together. They got the team on the offensive side start kind of scoring more, but since the Josh McDaniels hire, 19 points per game, and then Luke Getsy coming in 17 points per game, and if you compare the two that we had, the offense that we had to deal with this season, I mean, Luke Getsy was in hindsight a bad hire, and he was coming out of Green Bay when he was a receivers coach. They were saying he was like a great offensive mind, and he went to the Chicago Bears. Those 2 years there wasn't all that great. You couldn't tell if it was Getsy, the coordinator, if it was the quarterback Fields, which one was the reason why, or maybe Eberflus, who also got fired towards the end of last year. Was it him? So we didn't know. So we didn't really know how to I guess judge the Getsy hiring in the beginning of the season. But as you look at these numbers going throughout the season, you saw that maybe he was, this was over his head too, trying to run an offense again with the 76.9 rushing yards a game, 203.3 passing yards, 280.2 of total yards in the game, 17.9 points a game. And then with Scott Turner coming in, yeah, the rushing yards went up 83.1, passing yards went up 245.9, and then the total yards 329. But the points per game was down by 0.3. And, both offensive coordinators only got 2 wins. And they basically played half a season. Getsy got fired in week 9, and then Scott Turner took over for the rest of the year. So the offense, the defense, even with all the injuries, carried this team, but the offense couldn't complement the defense enough. We say that, having Gardner Minshew start the season from game 1 was on hindsight. Well, we said it, but in hindsight, everyone's seen that was a bad call. They should have went with O'Connell. And O'Connell, the times he was in there, looked good. He had the thumb injury, which he was out for 6 weeks, came back. Then he had the knee injury against in the middle of the Buccaneer game when that late push, that late shove. Comes back. He had that good game against the Chiefs. Couldn't close it out with that that whole thing at the end of the Black Friday game.
Communication.
Yeah, so it was just a lot. And yeah, AP's the head coach, and even though don't want to say. And we're trying to walk that thin line between reality and excuses. Rookie head coach, he had to learn his way, and of course he didn't really have that many experience as coach in the NFL. But like we said in the beginning of the season, yeah, we have expectations for what happened last year, but realistically, we kept saying this at the beginning of the season. Realistically, what are the expectations? What happens if AP falls on his face? Now full-time head coach. I had said, and we like to throw out little theories, little conspiracy theories. What if the AP hire could have been like, and we said this at the beginning of the season too. What if the AP hire could have been Mark Davis? Okay, let me right my wrong for not hiring Bisaccia. The players wanted Bisaccia, and then look what McDaniels did. Gutted the team, and then went back into 4th place or their 3rd place though, because Broncos were in last place at the time. But I kind of thought, what if hiring AP full time to satisfy the players, want, like, okay, I'll hire him this time because I did him with Bisaccia, but if he doesn't do well, then I can fire him, and it's not on me now. I'm off the hook. Now I can go and try to look for somebody else. I don't know. We try to think like how Mark Davis would think. Maybe try. I don't know. They say he really wants to win, and I'm not saying he doesn't, but he just has, like Asylum said, too many guys, too many people in his ear telling him this, telling him that. Now Tom Brady, people are acting as if he's the football operations, even though he only has the 5% ownership and is working for Fox. But everyone's saying, well, Tom Brady is going to be in charge, or big, on quarterback, and big on who's going to be the next head coach. Then what's Tom Telesco doing there then? So there's just a lot of uncertainty, a lot of questions, and that's why we thought, okay, well, AP will stay this next coming year, because who wants this job? Who wants this job? Who wants to come into an organization, like Asylum said, and join the coaching carousel? Am I going to have 1 year? Am I going to have 2 years? If I mess up, am I allowed to fix my mistakes? Am I allowed to build an organization the way I want it? Do I have that time? And I know we're all frustrated. This is now, last playoff win was in 2002 before we went to the Super Bowl. So this is now going on 23 years of this. I don't know what you want to call it, because we used to be just win, baby, commitment to excellence. And now we're impatient, and we're getting tired of the mediocrity, and two, the uncertainty, because we can't build nothing. And the players felt the same way too. At the end, the post-game interviews after this last game against the Chargers, the players were still like, we want AP, we want AP, we played hard for AP. Even during that 10-game losing streak, he was able to still keep, get us going. No, none of the players quit, which we thought, okay, that at least will be on his side, but results matter. You saw 4-13. The offense, for the most part, couldn't hit that 20 mark again, just like with McDaniels when they brought him in. So right now, as of last year around this time, we knew AP was a front runner, and Harbaugh was, it was between AP and Harbaugh, and maybe that also led to the decision. Looking at Harbaugh taking the Chargers to the playoffs in his first year. They look like they got that organization going in the right direction. So everything's all in hindsight. Everything is all, okay, well, look at what happened. Look at the results. And we're left behind. All the AFC West teams are in the playoffs. And we're now sitting, waiting for a new coach. Got swept in the West. First time that happened since Art Shell in 2006, which got us a number one pick at that time, ended up being Jamarcus Russell at quarterback, which is also why we're kind of nervous on picking a quarterback. We're at number 6 this year going into the draft. We're at number 6, so that's where we finish. And people are also saying, well, maybe that's what got AP fired, because we could have been 1 or 2, and now because he won 2 meaningless games, we're down to 6. So, I don't know. A lot of speculation. It all just points to the overall 4-13 record, and the play of the offense, even though AP's defense, but the game management, when to throw a flag, when to go on 4th down, when not to go on 4th down. But these are things that he was learning. He had to learn, and I just think last year when he was interim, there was no other ex-head coaches on his coaching staff. So he was just coaching off of his gut. And you heard at the end of the press conference after the game where they asked him, what you thought. It was either that one or that Monday from yesterday press conference was, what's the one thing you learned? He said, to trust my gut. You knew he wanted to go with a call in the beginning of the season, but he deferred. He wanted Kingsbury. But whatever happened with there, he had to settle for Getsy. They had to hurry up because they were late making that decision on offensive coordinator. They had to get that going. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. So, here we are now. Get ready to start a new coaching search. But we all been here before. This is like every other year thing we do. And now we have to look forward to figuring out who is the next person that wants to try to tackle this Raider head coaching position. Asylum. What do we do?
I'm going to say, you were talking about the coaching carousel and everything. I can give you part of an answer on that. During the Al Davis years, it was because Al Davis was trying to get that last Super Bowl before he died. That's why you had the coaching carousel there, the player turnaround, overpaying for players and all kinds of shit like that. But as far as Mark Davis, I can't answer it there because I don't get to be in the fly on the wall in those meetings and all that other shit. So I mean, I can answer the Al Davis part of the time, but so now we can go into whatever you want to go into. Sorry, I just wanted to get that out. I was waiting for you to finish so I could go that route because we all know that one. Just like Jerry Jones right now. Jerry Jones is turning into Al Davis. He's trying to get that last one before the time is up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's we're sitting here and we're just trying to figure out what they're gonna do. So, and here we are. And after, the Patriots firing Mayo, it looked like it was a done deal. And of course, they still got to do their interviews and everything. But Vrabel being the expatriate, wanted to. It was reported that it was Patriots or bust, but now the Raiders want to look at.
Just because that opening is there, I think Vrabel's going to go to the Patriots. I mean, I know we saw it in the chat. Somebody commented, but Vrabel's coming here, and if it wasn't for them firing Mayo, I would think that chance is there. With the whole Tom Brady, with everything going, it was been a big talk. But the minute that position opened, like you said, the patch or bust, it almost seems like Vrabel is destined to go to the Patriots, and so we got to look at others and what's going on, because the hot name being Vrabel is out the window now. They're going to interview who they have to. They're going to do everything they have to, but as soon as they can, you're going to hear Vrabel's off the board.
Yeah,
and if you look at that name, off your blackboard, because he's not going to be there.
Well, until it's official. Let's look at the other possible head coaches.
Telesco's head coaching hires in the past.
Yeah, we know Brandon Staley, right? Remember that one last year, right?
Oh yeah, I believe we got him fired.
Yeah, we got both of them fired. We hired one of them in Tom Telesco, which he did a good job. Especially with the draft. Brock Bowers, JPJ, DJ Glaze. So we'll see what he does going into this draft at number 6. You're looking at this list right here. As we said in the beginning of the show, Patrick Graham did not sign a extension to be the Raiders defense to stay as the Raiders defensive coordinator. He has interviews with the Jaguars and also defensive coordinator for the Bengals. And if you want to keep some kind of continuity, maybe the Raiders got rid of AP. I don't know. We're just throwing out theories right now. And with the news of Patrick Graham gonna make interviews, maybe the Raiders want to interview him for the head coaching job just to keep at least the defense settled and having that going forward, and then figure out the offensive side again. But if you look at this list, like we said, Mike Vrabel seems to be top of the list. Ben Johnson, who the Lions offensive coordinator, who they are the number 1 seed on the NFC right now. Todd Monken, the Ravens offensive coordinator. That means that they're gonna have to get probably a more mobile quarterback for that type of offense, because Jackson, a quarterback like Jackson. We're not going to get Jackson, but a quarterback like Jackson. Joe Brady for the Bills. Bobby Slowick, the Texans offensive coordinator, what he did with C.J. Stroud. John Gruden, Chucky 3. He's in the news again, coming back as head coach. He's tied to the Jets job. He's tied to the Saints job. He's tied to the Bears.
He's no longer tied to the Jets job. The Jets said they're not going to interview him.
They're scared. Cliff Kingsbury, the guy who fled to Washington, his name is brought up to come and try to coach again. Remember him with the Cardinals. Brian Flores try to get his second chance after what happened in Miami. He's currently the Vikings defensive coordinator. Kellen Moore, the Eagles offensive coordinator. Liam Cohen, Buccaneers defensive coordinator. Pete Carroll, at 72, was delegated to go up to be the Seahawks executive VP after being the head coach for the Seahawks for a long time. 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 ring. So his name was thrown out there. Jesse Minter, Chargers defensive coordinator, but he don't have that. He has like 4 years in the league as a coach. So these are the names that reporters are throwing out there. We kind of thought that if it wasn't AP, and let's say if it wasn't Vrabel or even a Patrick Graham, we can both kind of see the Raiders going more again on the offensive side. Like Al Davis was always on that offensive side. Maybe Mark Davis goes back to the offensive side, because the offense, like as we shown in that graphic with the offensive coordinators, the offense for the last couple of years just weren't that good. They're not scoring points. And of course, you got to score points to win games. So
especially we think that
Yeah, unless we have the 85 Bears type of defense, but we keep players, keep teams, in the
Oh,
teens,
that
we could probably win a
that
19 to 13.
Ravens defense that got fucking oh god damn it! Why I'm drawing a blank now. Oh, the Ravens defense that got son of a bitch. I can't remember their quarterback at the time.
I need more than that.
The quarterback for the Ravens won the Super Bowl. That defense.
Oh, Jim Plunkett.
No, the Ravens.
Oh, Ravens. I thought you said the Raiders.
No,
Oh, you're talking about Trent Dilfer.
That's it, Dilfer.
The 2000
That's
Ravens.
Kind of defense that can get a Trent Dilfer a Super Bowl. That's the kind of defense you need to have. Thank you. That's where I was trying to go with it. I drew a blank. God damn.
Yeah, well, if you look at possible offensive coordinators that can come in next year, depending on who's going to be the head coach, but you got these guys. Jason needs to be given that's a fact right there. That's a
same with Spillane.
Spillane. I don't know why they haven't given him a contract yet, because once it's open market, yeah, that money that we got
right now, the betting line that I've seen, Spillane, if he doesn't come back to the Raiders, he's going to Buffalo.
Just like the other number 41 that we had, Filippiano. All right,
but one was traded. The other one free agency.
One was traded for a receiver, and the other one will be free agent. But they both were 41 in linebackers.
Yes, they did. And both did that number proud. Both did that number proud.
I don't know. I'm looking at the comments too right here. That last one. You know what? If you look at all the videos of Marvin Lewis in the background, he just didn't look happy. Unless he wanted to be the one calling the plays, pressing the buttons. He didn't look like he wanted to be there at all.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't. He don't like playing second fiddle.
Yeah, I mean, them Bengals teams, they were good. They had Carson Palmer. They were good. But they also got in trouble a lot. Well, I guess then he'll fit in, right? Because the Raiders in Vegas, it's
rule number one.
kind of rough. Kind of been a rough couple of years. We think that offensive coordinator could be Eric Bieniemy, the dark horse, maybe, because he wants to prove that he can coach in the NFL again, and whatever happened after he left the Chiefs, the allegations or whatever that people still hold over him, whatever it is, him coming in to be an offensive coordinator, because I know the end game for him is he wants to be a head coach, but it has to come back in again, maybe as coordinator just to get his foot back into the door, or foot back into the NFL. We think that Eric Bieniemy could be a dark horse candidate, but
Kubiak too. I think Kubiak's a close second in that. I know we both, even with Peggy on, she's been on, which just a reminder, she will be on tomorrow. Yes. The enemy is probably the dark horse, but even a Clint Kubiak, I think, is in that conversation.
Yeah. I mean, you want to do just kind of guessing or betting, or we can say, and it could be out there. I think the Raiders surprise everybody. Vrabel goes to the Patriots. Raiders hire Patrick Graham as a head coach. That's what I think. I'm going. What is it, like a 1 in 1 million? I'm taking those odds. Patrick Graham, and I'm gonna be wrong. I'll probably be wrong.
Are you going? Hey, this Vegas. You going all in?
I'm going all in on Patrick Graham being the head coach. Patrick Graham, head coach, 2025, keeps the players happy, keeps continuity. He will be going into his 4th year with the organization now as head coach. He'll probably still call the plays on the sideline or whatever he does on the sideline, or maybe he promotes Rob Leonard to be a defensive coordinator, who was his.
That has been the talk. Well, that's when AP was still had the job. There was talk about if Patrick Graham leaves, that Leonard could possibly get that defensive coordinator spot.
Yeah, because I mean, Leonard and Graham, they're tight. They've been around. They've been around the league, and Leonard follows him. It's kind of like Gruden and Callahan from the early 2000s. He goes late 90s, 2000s. They followed him along, and I can see Patrick Graham, head coach, Rob Leonard, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator. I don't know yet, but that's what I'm calling it. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm calling. And who knows?
You said it first, though. You said it first.
I said it first. The insiders that I don't know inside the building, like everybody else said, all my insiders. Yeah, well, my outsiders say, I don't know. I'm a Gemini, so the insider, like you say, aside the insider in your head.
The insider in my head.
The other part of me says Patrick Graham, defensive coordinator, becomes head coach. Keeps continuity on the defensive side of the ball. Keeps guys like Max Crosby happy, Nate Hobbs happy, all those guys. Spillane happy. He knows how to work with them. He just continue that defense. Keep that defense built, and have somebody come in to work in the offense. No pressure. Just work in the offense. I can see that happening because it all ties together. Oh, Patrick Graham, he's gonna go and do some interviews. Okay, well let's AP, I'm sorry. Good try. We appreciate you. Patrick Graham. Let's see if we can elevate him to head coach. Final. That's my prediction right there. I could be wrong. I'm not sitting here like I know everything. I'm just saying it. I'm predicting it. And if you go by Mark Davis making some splash moves of if it's not Vrabel, it's going to be Patrick Graham.
Well, I mean, you got to remember, there is a story out there that I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I saw the headlines. Apparently, Brady is going to have a lot of influence on the head coach search.
Yeah.
So, there you go. I know everything because I'm a dad, and I know it all.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the comments. See, on this show,
don't be afraid to hear Bruce Arians' name.
I thought he retired because of medical issues.
Might be.
Tom Brady connection. Look, I'm gonna say this, Kay. I'm gonna say this. You can be upset or whatever. On this show, we don't care. Anyone's opinion is their opinion, and we don't discriminate. I mean, we have a Niner fan that comes on and talks a mess about the team and all that. Yeah, but we're all podcasters, all of us, everybody you listen to. Ain't no one have real insiders unless they're part of unless they're writing articles for the Raiders. So, we don't mind the banter inside the comments, but if you're gonna be, disrespectful towards what we do, then I'm gonna have to kick you out the game. Good night, Walt. Not gonna have because nobody knows anything, and we've heard even worse stupid talk on other podcasters. Like I said, we don't care if you don't agree with what we say, but don't come onto the chat talking about stupid talk and all that. All right, so yeah, blocked. All right, Asylum.
Moving on.
Back to the show. Moving on. So, and I try to give him a chance. I see right here, Jeff. I try to give him a chance. I say he was good, and then he saw that he was.
He had his opinion in going, but when he started fucking talking shit about us, everything else, people in the chat, I really don't give a fuck what anybody has to say about me. But it just he had a chance, and to be honest with you, I felt that's what he wanted. So he got what he wanted. Now he can say he's been banned from probably another podcast, being the Cage Rat Show. And trust me,
you're
probably our first, right? Our first in 2 years?
Yeah. Congratulations, Walt. You're the first in 2 years. And we appreciate all those that are watching. This is actually one of our highest shows. We appreciate those who are watching because we're just all, when you watch all these podcasters, even the ones that get 100, 200, 300 views live, nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows. Everyone's just throwing out there and throwing clickbait, and they want to see what you, and then delete the ones that didn't hit, and then come back and see, I told you so.
Yeah. The ones that weren't right. I was wrong on that one. Let me delete that. That never happened. I never said that.
Yeah. So all of us, okay, we're all Raider fans. We all want the same thing. We all want to win. All right. So you can disagree.
The saying is just win, baby.
Yeah, the saying is just win, baby. You can disagree with what we say. It's all good, and we'll put your comments up and be like, hey, and then we'll give our side and this and that, because this is how it's supposed to be. We're not going to attack you for how you need some makeup. Yeah, I also need hair too. That's why. Yeah, that's why I wear the hat, because I try to hide my deficiencies. All right. But yeah, if you guys disagree with what we say, that's fine. And we'll put it up and we'll discuss it. We're not going to attack you for disagreeing with what we say. But getting personal or saying it's a stupid talk, whatever, then don't watch the show. Don't watch the show. Okay? Just don't watch the show. Because there's a lot of people that I don't want to listen to. I don't want to watch. It is what it is. It is what it is. So just hire another coach. Yeah, that's basically what we got to do now. So, anyways,
carousel.
That is your PSA for today, folks. Okay. You can play. You can
disagree with us, and there's been plenty of people in chats on the show that disagreed with our views.
What have gotten there?
You know, we will discuss it. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone has their right to an opinion.
Yes.
And, you know, we will let it be aired out. You know, I mean, we call it the cage match for a reason. We don't have a problem going toe-to-toe, going back and forth, whatever you want to call it. You know, it's not a fight. But, yeah, just don't go disrespectful. That's all.
Yeah. So, and that's what happens. But, you know, we wait. We're like old school football, okay? We'll let you take some hits, but once it starts kind of, all right, you know what, it's no.
Jason Downs says it best right here.
Yeah. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be.
And I want to give a shout out to Jason Downs because somebody earlier in the comments, I can't remember who, and I apologize for this. It's a long way up there. Brought in at least one other person to watch our show. He's bringing people in, and we appreciate that. And thank you, you know, for helping get us out there to Raider Nation.
Yes. And John, as you know, you watch our show. We don't, this tanking thing, no, we're not about that tanking thing. We're not about that tanking thing, King. So,
nope. What's
tanking? We're like, hey,
nope. The only thing I have is a tanker of beer going
through the veins.
I'm all for.
Okay, let's get back to the show. We got a little out there, you know. I had to pull a JT to brick and block somebody. Oh God! All right. Anyways,
oh sorry.
All right. So after this, I guess. Well, we'll have a show tomorrow. We'll have Miss Peggy to talk more about how she feels with this. So we're preparing. I was preparing for, you know, we were getting everything, all the information together to prepare for a show tomorrow. Talk about the last game of the season, the Charger game, and all of that, like we usually do with the stats and everything like that. But we also were kind of like, as much as we didn't want it to happen. Because you want to keep the continuity, you know, give them a second chance. Because regardless, unless you get a coach that can turn it around like that real quick, you're going to have another losing season. Because that's what it seems like we do. We always hire the wrong guy, and they always start off slow. But you give him a second season to see where he can go. And a lot of these last couple seasons, it stems from when... stems from hold on, see, I got distracted because I was reading this message. Okay, sorry. A lot of this that we're going on the last couple of seasons stems from the hiring of Josh McDaniels. We had a playoff team, and regardless, people would be like, well, it's not a playoff team, they got lucky, they got in. Okay, well, they were in the playoffs, so they're considered a playoff team. And they were on the brink of beating the Bengals in Cincinnati.
In that game. Phantom whistle.
Yeah. in that game in Cleveland, in Cincinnati, the eventual AFC champions. So we were on the verge of beating them, and it didn't happen, whatever. But McDaniels came in, gutted the team, got rid of the quarterback, Derek Carr, with no backup plan. Thought he can get Brady to come into play. Brady decided to retire. He got Jimmy G after the Niners released him. Try to use that as an no. This is my guy the whole time. Jimmy G.
Winner.
Yeah, look what he's done. He knows my system. He can speak my language. Jimmy G had a great defense and a running game with the Niners, and that's how they got to them Super Bowls, or that's that Super Bowl. And so didn't work out. His only highlight was that slide for a first down to beat the Broncos in Denver, that very first game of the season last year. That was his only highlight that I remember. After that, no.
The highlight, yes. There's also one other low light.
What was
all the interceptions he threw?
Yeah, I mean, he just looked. He had a weak arm. He just looked. He was so injured. He was on the IR before, like, he got injured before the press conference of his signing. So let's just, we're doing it next week when he's healthy.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And that's true, because they had to cancel the press conference.
Yeah.
And restructured that contract because of his fucking injury.
Yeah. So after that, you saw what happened. McDaniels gets fired on Halloween night last year, and then Antonio Pierce takes over. The Raiders seem to have made a 180. They're winning games they shouldn't have won, beating the Chiefs on Christmas Day at their home. Asylum was there for that one. Right there in the background during that pick six.
Yeah, you watch that pick. Yeah, you watch that pick six. After all the bullshit I had to go through just to try to get into the goddamn game.
Yeah.
But I was there. I was there during that.
Right there. That guy in the middle, that scary guy right there in the middle, that was Asylum right there. But,
And the funny thing was I ended up with my own security guard after that. And I was trying to get kicked out of the game 6 different times. I pissed off a few of the Chiefs fans. I'm leaving, and one lady turned around and said she hates my fucking guts, but wanted a picture with me. So I don't know. Maybe I'm famous on her Facebook page. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
That being shit. So you know what? Oh well.
You might have gone viral. You don't even know it. She was Spanish. But the way it looked like AP, he was the guy. And like I said earlier, and I said at the beginning of the season, this is one of those, okay, Mark Davis can't go wrong if he hires AP. Like, hey, I'll hire him, because how he ended the season last year, 5-4 on the brink of making it to the playoffs. I'll hire him because the players want him, and if it doesn't work, I gave him a shot. I listened. It didn't work out, so now let's start again from ground zero and build this team up again with a new guy, a head coach. And this is what it looks like it's going to happen.
Yep. I mean, that's perfect. He knows where he made his mistakes. That was the thing. That's what we were trying to say that was being called excuses earlier in the show, is he had to make his mistakes so he could learn from them. He made those mistakes. He saw what it was, deserved the second year, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, which we don't know, he did not get it.
Yeah. So, and like I said, we said it earlier. We said it earlier in the season. Yeah, we all have expectations for the season to go. We all thought 10 wins, 11 wins. And some folks said, no, I don't think so. The question in quarterback, all of that. But AP tried. He tried with what he had. The two quarterbacks, Aiden O'Connell and Minshew, it could have been because of Getsy. They were regressing in the beginning of the season. Once they switched to Turner, who worked a lot with Aiden O'Connell during when he came in with McDaniels. O'Connell was getting better. Minshew was running around in circles until he broke his collarbone on that bad sack. But the offensive play was inconsistent. The running game was non-existent. And for as many injuries,
that was the big thing. That and the offensive line was a big part of why this offense was stagnant.
Yeah. And that could have been when the offense keeps stalling out, the defense is on the field for most of the game. The opposing offense is having more opportunities to keep going downfield, which means more scoring opportunities to score on us. And with an offense that can't really sustain drives for longer than 4 downs, maybe a first down and a punt, it's just hard for a team to continue or for a team to try to win, especially the close games. And that's what the Raiders basically suffered, was an offense that couldn't hold their end of the deal. Maybe Bo Hardegree, we should have kept Bo Hardegree because he was getting this controlling this offense with the makeshift offense that's put together every week. And so it is what it is. Getsy could have been at the start of the seat getting hot for AP. And whatever what the issue was with, and let me say this. Everybody was upset with AP because he won 2 meaningless games at the end of the season, which cost the Raiders the chance to get 1, 2, or 3, whatever, a third pick in the draft for this coming draft. But no one, well, let me not say no one, but a lot of folks don't look at Devontae Adams and point to him because he didn't want to be here. There's articles out there that said he didn't really want to be here going into the season. And if he was honest and truthful going into this last offseason and said, hey, guys, you know what? This didn't work out for me. I want to move on. The Raiders probably could have got higher picks for him. The Jets were calling for him before the season started to pair him up with Aaron Rodgers. They should have sent him out. If he was honest, they should have sent him out there to the Jets. Probably could have got a 2, maybe a 1,
No,
but they probably could.
But we could probably definitely got a 2.
They could have got a 2, and then they could have used whatever, or maybe a 2 and another compensation pick or whatever, and then they could have used that as ammo to trade up. But hey, everyone wants to look at AP. Well, you won those 2 meaningless games. AP was trying to keep his job. As you see, he won 2 games and he still lost his job. So
I sent an article which his owner told him, don't worry about the draft pick, go win fucking games.
Yeah.
So even Mark Davis didn't give a fuck about the number 1 draft pick. He just wanted to win games. So when your owner tells you to do that and you go and do it, how is that your fault?
Yeah. So that's why I said the tanking thing we don't believe in, because no one's going to take you. It's unless you start. The Raiders are playing a lot of rookies. Yeah.
Go ahead. I was just going to say this is what we've been saying this whole time.
Yeah. Raiders are playing a lot of rookies and first, undrafted guys and all that because of necessity, because their stars were basically knocked out of the season. But to tank, that's just
blasphemy. It's blasphemy.
Well, yeah, I was going to say to tank. I mean, they had to intentionally bench guys, so it looks like they're not tanking. But you can't. It's hard to tank in football. And I know the suck for luck with the Colts and Brian Flores, the allegations that he said that the Dolphins told him to lose to get a better draft pick for the following season, that he ends up getting fired and all that, whatever. A coach and players are not going to put that on tape and show that to the following team or whatever it is the case. I saw them had said that a couple weeks ago, they're not going to do that, and turn around and be like, well, I was told to do that. Well, sorry, it looks like you quit. Looks like you gave up on that tackle. Looks like you didn't try for that ball. So the players are not going to tank. The team wants to win, and they were still playing hard. So if anything, AP still kept this team going and kept this team as competitive as he could with what he had. makeshift offensive line, a defense that was dropping like flies and replacing with new guys. But one thing you can say is the guys that were in the games, that played a lot, that wasn't supposed to be in the games at the beginning of the season, they got their experience this year. So now they got some experience going into next year.
And they played with heart. I mean, you can't say none of the players on that field leaving that game, the last game of the season, did not play with heart the whole season.
Yeah. There were games where they came out looking flat, and there were games where they looked defeated, but you never saw them quit. And just real quick, this is just a glimpse of what the Raiders, how it looked. We showed this talking about the Chargers game last week. You look at the offensive lineup in week 1. Devontae Adams, Cody Whitehair, Thayer Mumford, who we all thought he was going to be the starting right tackle. Garner Minshew, Zamir White. The last lineup going into the Chargers game at the end of the season, this past weekend, Jacoby Myers stepped into that number 1 receiver spot. Andre James, he was out. He should have been benched, but Meredith got hurt. So Jackson Powers Johnson wasn't playing that center position, but he should have because he basically beat him out of that. Aiden O'Connell, who should have been a starter, in the beginning of the season, and then Alexander Madison, who was taking over for Amir Abdullah, who finally got his 100-yard rushing in his career against the Saints. So just the changes right there. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and then, you got to give props to Brock Bowers, who throughout all of this broke fucking multiple fucking records, left and right, including the most impressive one, the 63-year-old Ditka record for most yards by a tight end in a rookie season. Brock Bowers was not trying to fucking tank.
Yeah, so, Brock Bowers coming in.
And I'm going to say this. He deserves the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Probably won't get it because he's on the Raiders and he's on a quarterback, but he put up some numbers with 3 quarterbacks, Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, and Ritter, and he still put up numbers, and he still found himself open, and he still did what he did. And then, like I was saying, going into the defensive side of the ball that the Raiders had to deal with, starting against the Chargers in week 1, guys like Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, Malcolm Kuntz was supposed to go in. Oh, well, then he got hurt. Nate Hobbs, who wasn't at the last game, but he was missing a lot of time during this season. Jacorian Bennett got hurt in the middle of the season. He was starting that first game. Marcus Epps was starting that first game. You're looking on the other side, going into the last game against the Chargers, Tyree Wilson had to step in and step in for Max Crosby. Charles Snowden with a chase on. Both of them had to go in and be the other side. Divine Diablo, you see him on both sides of this list, but he missed a lot of time. Richardson, he had to step in for Jacorian Bennett. Richardson was a rookie. And then, of course, Isaiah Palomaro, he came in and he started getting this defense on that defensive backside, a defensive backfield going, but he had to come in for Marcus Epps. So this is just the season that we had. And now we get to start fresh all over again. So here we are.
And I agree with the statement here. That's just a glimpse of Bowers. Oh, yeah, we get the right OC in there, and Bowers is going to be – beast is an understatement. Everyone calls people beast. Bowers has the chance to be a titan.
Yeah.
Okay? And people who know mythology know what I'm talking about. He has a chance of being a titan in football.
Well, let's because there's a team called the Titans.
I'm not talking about the team. I'm talking about mythology. A titan in mythology. That was even better than Zeus. That's better than everybody. Titans were first. That titan. He has a titan. I mean, I'm sorry. Beast is an understatement for Bowers.
Well, we wanted to come on, give our thoughts on the news of Antonio Pierce being let go by the Raiders as head coach, And now we're at it again, looking for a new head coach to try to take over this team and get us to where we should be, because we deserve it. Raider fans deserve it. Going on 23 years of, I don't know. It's going on 23 years of what's going on, man.
Okay. What the fuck? It's 23 years of what the fuck.
Yeah. So we will be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, whatever 7, Asylum's time.
7 p.m. Central, 6 Mountain.
Yeah. You know, and then Hawaiian time, probably 3 o'clock. So, yeah, we just want to come on here and give our thoughts on.
In Australia, it'd be morning time. I know that one for a fact.
Yeah, catch us now on Australia, because I think they're past. Well, we'll have Miss Peggy coming on and give her thoughts on what she feels, and everyone loves Miss Peggy because she brings it. Give her thoughts on the news of today and what she feels the Raiders should do going into not just the future, but at least starting off going into this offseason, going into this next season in August, or draft and all. You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right, Asylum. That's it. Any last words or anything?
No, I think I've said my part.
And we appreciate those in the comments.
He's actually doing double duty tomorrow because she'll be on Jeff's podcast after ours.
Hey.
So, after she's done here, go check out which podcast is it, Jeff? Put it up in the chat so we can give it a quick shout out. She'll be on his podcast tomorrow after ours. So you get a double dose of Peggy, and all I have to say is make sure you have your helmet on, because if you don't, you're going to end up in concussion protocol. All right, check out the Raider Connection tomorrow after our show to get your double dose of Miss Peggy.
We got to come up with a name for Miss Peggy's fans. Something that's better than the Swifties, okay?
At 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central.
Yes.
It's 6 Pacific.
No, it's going to be 7.
7. Sorry, my bad. 7 Pacific.
So that means we got to finish right on time at 7 o'clock so they can go switch over and see Miss Peggy on with Jeff. So, All right, everybody. That's our show for today. For those in the chat that contributed into the comments that were respectful, we appreciate you. We appreciate the people who came out, who were watching, because we were up to like 42 views, man. We're making progress right now. We're up there. Yeah, and then you witnessed our first time having to boot somebody out of the chats. There was one that was on the borderline of getting flagged too, but we're like, okay, come on, let's keep it, and whatever.
No,
okay,
we have 47.
Hey, that's how it goes. All right, come back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Watch this show. Thank you, everybody, and we'll be back tomorrow with Miss Peggy on our regular cage match time.
And
our regular.
A week after that, we have a surprise for everybody too.
Yes, okay. We're getting this show. We're starting the off season strong. Okay, get a little insight on how these storms go. So, all right, then, everybody.
Thank you for all the subscriptions we have. I know it's not huge, but we appreciate everyone who subscribed, shares this, comes into the chats. We appreciate everybody. We really do.
And you heard it here first, okay? If Vrabel don't become head coach, Patrick Graham, head coach, 2025, like it or not, I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. But I can admit that because I'm humble. All right. All right, Nation. Peace out. Take care. And we will see you tomorrow on Wednesday. Oh, and we always end every show like we always do, for those who are new, with a word from Coach Wallace, my old coach from high school, a.k.a. Raider Milt, Oakland Raider tailgates. We always keep his memory alive. Rest in peace, Raider Milt, a.k.a. Coach Wallace, and good night.
All you other NFL teams, your tailgates are weak. Your teams are weak. We might be down right now, but it doesn't take away the history. And all you Raiders out there need to know your fucking history of who the fuck you playing for and where the fuck you're playing. Damn it. Oh, and by the way, I won my last cage fight. Again, I'm still undefeated. And you NFL motherfuckers out there that you think you want some, come on and get some anytime.